This is the Infatuasian podcast, which is a show where I get together with people and talk about Asian things and Asian people that we love. This is Curtis, and on today's episode, we are doing a food industry insider show with my sister Caryl and her good friend, Chef Shirley Chung. Welcome to episode 19, everyone. Gong hei fa choi. Happy Lunar New Year.
Special Chinese New Year edition.
Happy Lunar New Year.
Yeah, this is the Lunar New Year edition. As Ronnie Chang might say, we hope you all get rich out there. Most of all, we hope you're healthy. Today's going to be a super fun show. I know there's a couple foodies who listen to this show, so you're going to have a really good time because we have two people who know the deep ins and outs of the restaurant and food media business. And they've done everything from help open restaurants to open their own restaurants to be on TV. And so normally I'd be nervous with two heavy industry titans like today, but we're talking to family today. So I'm going to introduce you to them. It's kind of hard to pin this first guest down to one title. Some people have called her a food event planner. Other people call her a restaurant fixer, but she's just kind of an all-round jack of all trades with the restaurant industry, but I call her my older sister. It's Caryl. Welcome, Caryl.
Hello. I've literally known you your whole life.
Literally.
I may be the first guest on your show, I guess, unless you've had our parents. I'm the first guest who's known you your whole life.
Yeah, no, you are. You are for sure. And you are joined by your good friend, Chef Shirley Chung, who is the owner and operator of Miss Chi Cafe in Culver City. So all of you Southern Cal people, go give her a visit. And before you had your own restaurant, she has worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, like Keller, Savoy, Batali. And she is a two-time competitor on Bravo's Top Chef in season 11 and 14, where she made the top 3 twice and runner-up in season 14. And since my sister calls you a sister, that makes us related too, right, Shirley? So
yeah, we're cousins, sisters.
Yeah, we're all family here. So we have with us Chef Shirley Chung. Welcome, Shirley.
Hi.
Hey. So excited to have you both with us. We're gonna start so my listeners can get to know you a little better. We're gonna do a lightning round. So don't think. Well, don't think too hard. This is going to be easy for you guys.
There's like nothing easy in here. Just like, let's go, lightning round. What? Normally, it's just like, we get to know each other, and then by the end of the show, you're like, oh, let's do a speedy round. You're like, we start with that.
No, we don't mess around here on the Infatuasian podcast. All right. This will be fun, though. I thought this would be fun to hear your opinions on this. So don't think too hard. Just go with your gut.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with Caryl, and then we'll do Shirley. What is your favorite late night meal to grab?
Probably anything fried and crispy. So French fries, but if there's more options, fried chicken, spring rolls.
That's because you just got air fryer. That's why. This is all you're thinking. I know you.
Her head is.
My house is a TGI Fridays now.
Her head is on fried foods. How about you, Shirley? After you get off at the restaurant, midnight, 1 a.m., what do you grab?
Really bad, like ramen noodle.
Oh.
But actually from the back, either that or from like a tub, you put it in the microwave, so it's only 3 minutes, but you have to crack an egg. Like the egg is the magical part. It's all about like the MSG field broth with that poached egg.
It's the MSG, the egg, yeah. Because you get your proteins, you get your electrolytes, yeah.
You get your like vegetable-ish from those dehydrated flakes.
That counts, yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
Balance.
All right, now this one is a different class. This is the splurge meal. So this could cost hundreds of dollars. You might have to travel around the world for this meal, but you would say this meal is worth every penny, even including airfare. What is your, Caryl, let's start with you. What is your favorite splurge meal that you could go back to many times in your lifetime and it'd still be worth it?
I don't know.
Too many.
I think for me, I'm always trying to try new places. So when I travel, especially, I want to go to the hot new place in Paris or the hot new place in Barcelona. I think caviar, just like in terms of a dish or a thing I like, is my favorite splurge.
Uh,
I don't know, or white truffles. Oh, it's hard. White truffles. I'll go with white truffles in Italy in November.
okay.
Final answer.
All right. That's nothing wrong with
I
that.
see. Oh, we all love the weather. Okay, I would like to say is the hairy crab meal in Shanghai.
Uh,
Not just Shanghai, but like the Shanghai region
yeah.
during November in China.
That's
Oh, it's like you just like they're fresh, and then you have to take out all the tamale, and then the noodle just thin threads of noodle with pure crab meat tamale with a few threads of white the leg meat, and then you just eat it together. And then the next course is, like a full courses of crab everything and drunken crab, raw marinated crab, and you just start the run. Oh, nice. Seasonal, so good.
Yeah, seasonal.
Always go back.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, we crave for the seasonal things that nature gave us. There you go.
Mm-hmm. All right, this one. Now, don't think too hard on this one. Who is your favorite TV chef? Who's your favorite chef on TV? Don't make any enemies. Don't make.
Oh, that's hard.
That's
That's
so
a hard
hard.
Well, you can pick yourself.
I know. Can I pick Shirley?
Oh, yes, yes, I am my favorite TV chef. And there's more things happening. So I'm working on to like figure stardom or your favorite TV person. Okay. Yeah, we'll pick that.
That works. All right. Yeah, you guys are friends with all these guys, so it's hard to choose just one. All right. Well, so we jumped right in the lightning round. Let's slow it down now a little bit. But actually, we wanted to talk about your stories in a second, but we wanted to get in this right away to talk about this project that you guys are working on. Now, you guys and your friend and podcaster and food writer, Andy Wang, around, 2017-ish or so, around there, you guys started getting together and doing these dumpling crawls all through Southern California and Las Vegas. And you dubbed yourself the Dumpling Mafia. And so give us a little quick hit on how you guys started that, or why you guys started that, or how the origin story of the Dumpling Mafia.
So I knew both of them like kind of separately. And then when Shirley moved from Irvine up to Los Angeles, then it gave us an opportunity to get together all the time. Andy and I both moved to LA from New York. So all three of us really got a chance to explore the San Gabriel Valley or the SGV together, because a lot of us hadn't been to a lot of those places. We had never been. So we started going, and we'd hit 2, sometimes 3 places in one day, or we'd go to a food court where we could get to multiple places in one day. And we just kind of descend on these places and order all the dumplings and critique them and photograph them. And so I just thought like this gang of like the dumpling mafia. And when we started putting the hashtag, all of our friends on social media would see these things and be like, well, I want to be a part of how do I get invited to dim sum? I want to go, be part of the dumpling mafia. So we knew it was something that people wanted to join or become a part of. And Andy was the first one who sort of got into crypto, and so that's where the second part of the Dumpling Mafia came into being.
Mm-hmm.
Dumpling Mafia NFTs. So that's the newest project that 3 of us, and then partner was CoinCloud, which is a crypto ATM company, and also a local street artist in Los Angeles. So we released a series of Dumpling Mafia NFT. So for those people that don't know, here I come. Ultimately it's JPEG, so digital art. It can be anything of the digital art. So for us, we have 4 characters, like pig dragon, a bowl, a pot stickers, a bowl of wonton soup, and then with different trays of different things. So that is our NFT, but is ultimately the digital dumplings that live on the blockchain. And so you can always trace who owns the ownership. So you can see every single transaction. Yeah. So this is all the excitement behind it. So there are cute arts that came out with us. So join the dumpling or purchasing the Dumpling Mafia NFT, then it's kind of like a membership to join Dumpling Mafia. Me and Caryl, we know each other for a really, really long time already. And I wanted to say, Caryl is almost like a key holder to a lot of my important stage of my career. So the fact that now we're also part of this Dumpling Mafia, we released an NFT together, and we can very proudly say that
hey, this is a woman-led project. Because it's like right now, all the woman-led NFT is really popping right now. And there's just so much history and then like feel good friendship, all that behind it that I think this is just such a great project.
Super fun. Yeah. So they can find you at what's the easiest way for them to connect and maybe even join the mafia?
If you go on the Instagram, that's probably best. So, and there's a link in bio that has all the websites, but it's just Dumpling Mafia NFT,
Okay.
like
All right.
non-fungible token.
So yeah, go check out. I'll put the link in the description, or I'll put the Instagram handle in the description. But you can also just Google Dumpling Mafia NFT, and it'll be the first thing that pops up.
Exactly.
And then I don't know if you heard it, but Shirley has, she can ship you food from Miss Chi Cafe. You can try her world famous dumplings. You can even try her giant cheeseburger dumplings, a whole smoked tea duck. I'm kind of eyeing the Taiwan pork chops. I'm kind of keeping my eye on those. But yeah, she can ship it anywhere. Are we going just U.S. or can it go even further than the United States?
Right now, just US.
Okay.
But we do if you'll be part of Dumpling Mafia NFT, like you mint an NFT or you own a boss. So anyway, there's a detail on our Instagram that will tell you exactly how to get there. But we are hosting a Lunar New Year event with GoBelly and Dumpling Mafia together.
Ooh.
So if you own enough bosses and the accrue NFT, then we will send you a coupon code. So you will have access if you're in the United States that we actually give you a whole like a cook along demo kit with 3 different type of dumplings from me. And then on February 17th, Lunar New Year Lantern Festival time that we're doing a cook along via GoBelly. So it's kind of like a good perk for joining the Dumpling Mafia.
Yeah, that's a huge
NFT
perk.
Right
yeah.
now. Huge perk. Yeah, it's like all those sort of kind of things that we also design as we're creating our community. But the cool thing is, like joining the Mafia, you have a lot of different access to us, to the Mafia, and also to me personally. So either it's digital event or in-store restaurant events, the Mafia always comes first.
What was that date one more time? The
February 17th.
Okay.
Thursday.
A cook along with Chef Shirley. Wow.
Mark your calendar.
Yeah. Fun. All right. So I'll put all those details. So those of you interested into something like that, and you can see virtually cook along with Shirley, or even go into the restaurant and see Shirley on different events. So really, really fun. All right, so we're gonna go back to the 90s a little bit. Let me give a little bit of background on my sister Caryl. I know, Shirley, you were a baby in the 90s. Back in the 90s, or actually even before that, Caryl, what were your first food memories like growing up? I actually don't remember you eating a lot of different foods as a kid. You're a little bit picky, not as picky as me, but you're a little picky. What were your food memories as a kid?
Well, it's funny because, now that I'm in the food business, people ask me if our parents were foodies or we were brought up that way. And I never, that word wasn't around and we never called ourselves that. But looking back on it, they did take us to orchards to pick fruit. They did take us fishing or clam digging, or, we would go get Dungeness crab. And so there was a lot of things, we did do a lot of things like that, the summers spent at Uncle Jim and Auntie Joan's place up in Petaluma, where we would have this vegetable garden all summer. So we would be able to pick corn and feed the chickens and gather eggs and pick zucchini and tomatoes right from the garden for dinner. So we were exposed to all that, and it wasn't really like a thing in the 80s. Yeah. But suddenly, like now when I look back on it, I did have that experience. It was kind of weird. Like, do you ever think about that?
Yeah, we were foragers before it was popular.
Yeah. Like right now,
it's true California life. That's like a true California. Because my parents, because I came to the United States in the 90s, and then when I first came to America, and my grandpa was in Sonoma County. He was actually living in Sonoma, had his garden, so he was doing like R&D, tried to bring yali from China type of pear, and then to grow in Sonoma and things like that. So yeah, like definitely grew up knowing the nature, knew where my food came from, knowing about seasonality of everything. And the same thing happened in Beijing too. So like you guys had like the perfect Northern Californian life. Only even as chefs, we always talk about it, right? Northern California, Napa Valley, like San Francisco, like that part has like a specialty that nowhere else, even Los Angeles, wouldn't be able to do. Is they would just be able to pick the perfect something, a pear, a perfect bowl of strawberry with nothing, and then just perfectly put it on a plate and present it. Go, oh, there you go. This is your dessert course. The perfect strawberry.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, no problem. $30. I'll buy it. But only that area.
Yeah.
Like where you grew up, or where I'm kind of lucky. I kind of grew up there towards the end too. So I wanted to say.
Well, and our mom, Shirley, you'll like this. Our mom used to do Chinese cooking lessons in our living room with her friends, in the 70s and early 80s, a bunch of, Caucasian ladies who wanted to try to cook some Chinese food. And my mom would do little demonstrations and charge them, what, $10, $5, $10 for materials.
It might have been like 20 because they sat down and ate dinner after.
Yeah.
Can you show me like a newspaper clip of like your mom's recipe or something like that? It was kind of like a
Sunset
while ago.
Magazine.
Oh my God, that is so cool. See, your mom was the original Asian celebrity chef before anything.
She was.
We're still newspapers. Till this day, we're like, every time.
No, it was Sunset Magazine, but same thing. It was print. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunset Magazine.
We still have it. All right. So then in high school, I remember this. You got a job on West Portal at Cafe for All Seasons doing salad prep. Was that your first?
Technically, it was college. I was in college by then.
Oh, was that college? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But so it was cashiering and salad, cold station.
Yeah. And it was then that you knew. No, it wasn't.
Really wasn't.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but that still was like thinking I wanted to go into business and going to Berkeley for a history degree. I have a degree in history.
Yeah,
I don't know what that.
So you graduate Berkeley and with a degree in Asian history, and you're like, okay, now what do I do? And so you worked at some different retail jobs, but then was it just in the classified ads? How'd you get over at Stars?
Well, so it was when I was working in the corporate office for the Gap. So during college, I worked in the Gap stores, like in Berkeley, in LA, at University of Hawaii, Manoa. I even worked at Ala Moana for a semester. But when I graduated Cal, they offered me a job in the corporate office because the Gap's corporate office is in San Francisco. Yeah. So I was working in HR, and my then boss, who's still a mentor to me, took me to lunch one day, and he's like, so, Chinn, this is it. You want to be like vice president of the Gap or something? And, I'm 20, I think I was 21 or 22. And I was like, no. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I think it'd be so cool to own a restaurant someday. I always wanted to, I think I had friends that were starting to kind of be in the business, and friends that honestly were more like club promoters at that point. But I just thought the whole hospitality scene, bars, restaurants, was very cool. And he's like, so what's keeping you from doing that? And I was like, well, because my parents just put me through 4 years of college, so I don't think they want me to be a waitress. And he's like, that's fair. And he didn't say anything else, but I left that lunch and just had like a quarter life crisis. Like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like I'm working 60 hours a week and I don't even want to do this. What am I, So I started putting a resume together, and I just sent it to restaurants I'd eaten at. I didn't know anything about the chefs. This is going to date me. There's no internet. So there's no Eater, there's no Google, there's no Wikipedia. I am reading the food section for the San Francisco Chronicle, or maybe Gourmet and Bon Appetit magazine. But that's how you read about chefs and restaurants. Like there was nothing else. Yeah. So I kind of just had to go on my personal experience. So I applied at restaurants I had dined at and liked. So One Market, Restaurant Lulu, remember that place by Moscone, Post Trio, which was Wolfgang Puck's restaurant, and then Stars. And Stars was the only one that called me back. I had no restaurant experience. I have a degree in history and I've worked at the Gap. And so Stars calls me back and says, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I'll answer phones or whatever. And they're like, okay, well, you can be a hostess. I'll give you, I get 2 dinners, like Monday and Tuesday dinner, and then brunches. So like it's like the worst schedule ever. But I was like, I made $8 an hour plus tips. And I just quit my job at the Gap and went to go work with them.
But Stars in the 80s and the 90s, that was the
That
place.
was pure luck that I chose that restaurant because I didn't know who the chef was. It turned out he was pretty famous. It's ridiculous now, but you didn't have to wait. Yeah. So my chef, this first sort of restaurant big job that I had was Jeremiah Tower at Stars Restaurant. He was the chef at Chez Panisse, sold his shares and opened Stars in San Francisco. And Harvard educated architect, just decided he wanted to be a chef, and but just such a character, also a mentor to me. Still in touch with him also. Very much a larger than life sort of figure, a bon vivant, as we would say. And he very influential on my career. So working for him was how I met everybody.
Yeah. And he burned bright for those years. He burned really bright, and everyone.
And what Shirley was talking about, if there is a Netflix documentary about him called The Last Magnificent, which is produced by Anthony Bourdain. Which is pretty amazing.
And I believe your name is in the credits at the end. Special thanks.
Thank you.
Special thanks.
Some of the photos and menus and press releases I still have.
The stories, And so
the stories.
Yeah. So you're working at Stars, and then you get shifted over to the private room, the Redwood Room, I believe it was called, and that's where you meet tons of people. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Luciano Pavarotti. You meet a bunch of people coming through.
No, those were actually events in the whole restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So I did do events, but then some of the bigger events were buyouts of the whole restaurant. So we did an event for Julia Child with Alice Waters, and we did this dinner for Pavarotti, which was a benefit for KQED.
And then somehow your name gets floated over at Bon Appetit magazine, all the way in New York. Someone finds you or hears about you.
I called them because we had done a couple events. I had flown to Chicago with Jeremiah and done an event with them, and then they filmed a cooking demo video at Stars. So I had worked with them on a couple projects, and I reached out and I said, "Hey, I'm kind of thinking about moving to New York. I don't write or sell advertising, but I'd love to, work with you guys. What do you think?" And they're like, "Well, we're gonna hire someone to do all of our events. Do you want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Wow.
So I mean, this is like a big job. I moved myself there. I'm 20. I think I was 27 when I moved. I moved myself there. I made $45,000 a year, and I literally Carrie Bradshaw. I lived in a shoebox apartment, a studio in the West Village. I was out every night of the week. I had no money, but I just it was just the best time, best place to be.
Yeah, and this coincides with the food industry. Especially like the celebrity kind of chef kind of era. Yeah. This is the 90s, and a little network called the Food Network starts up, and they start hitting you up for events. And so describe this era for us a little bit in the early 90s, mid-90s.
Well, I mean, what I think was funny, and I don't know, well, when you get to Shirley's story, we'll probably intersect a little bit. Yeah. But what I think was funny about that time, not funny, but interesting to me now when I think about it, I was the only Asian woman I knew in that circle. So certainly in New York, there were not really, I didn't even know any Asian guys. Like there were just no other, everyone was supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer. So there were no like party planners at Bon Appetit. But it kind of worked for me in a weird way. Like people always talk about the struggle of being the first to do anything. And I actually milked it. It was great because I would do these events once a year, like the James Beard Awards or some of these food festivals I would do. And I would see people like Emerald or Bobby Flay or whatever. They knew me because I was the only Asian woman they would see all year. So it was like I stuck out. Like now there's influencers and writers and chefs and photographers. But 1993, I was kind of the only one. I mean, I was definitely the only one that I knew. There were certainly a couple chefs and cookbook authors and people like that. But in terms of like PR and marketing and what I was doing,
and Asian American, there were chefs from China or chefs from all over. But Asian,
there was Martin Yan, there was Susanna Fu in Philadelphia. There were definitely a few. Linda Anna Susananan, I forget her name. She worked at Sunset Magazine, but there weren't a lot of us. So it helped me. It was like not instead of being a disadvantage, it actually was an advantage. So it helped me network because then when I would call Emerald, even though I only saw him once or twice a year, he'd be like, "Oh, hey, Caryl, what's going on?" It was interesting for me that way. But so yes, it was a great time, right place, right time. I kind of came up with all those people with the coinciding with the Food Network's rise, with when celebrity chefs. Before that, people knew the restaurant, like they knew it was a good restaurant, but they may not have known who the chef was. But starting in the late 90s, and then when Food Network, then they started to know who the chef was and pay attention to that.
Yeah. And they wanted to meet them and they wanted to eat there just to meet them. Yeah. So interesting times. And so you're working at Bon Appetit and you're doing these big food events, South Beach Food and Wine. What else are you doing? You're doing, well, I know you did San Francisco.
And then we would do all these, like we did the celebrity chef ski race, the celebrity chef golf tournament, the celebrity chef poker tournament. I actually even once did a celebrity chef bowling tournament. Like we mastered the art of this chef event. We had a lot of fun doing just crazy events like that. I got to go to the Cannes Film Festival for 3 years with Bon Appetit magazine. I mean, I never wanted to leave. That job was amazing. I never wanted to leave.
Condé Nast building. Yeah, it was fun times. I got to visit you a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all this time you're just building, like, this is an old term, but you're building up your Rolodex, right? You're just, and that's kind of what Caryl's known for, right? Is like, you need to be connected with someone in the industry. You call up Caryl Chinn and she'll know someone who
exactly.
Yeah. And so you're building up this resume, and then I guess you got tired of New York winters and you came out to California and Las Vegas and you started doing more events out here, and you started your own company, Caryl Chinn Culinary Consulting, and you started working for Tartine, a bunch of different things. But while you're in Vegas, you meet a young up-and-coming chef named Shirley Chung. Shirley, so born in Beijing, yeah?
Yeah.
And I heard something about your grandmother. Your grandmother was the head of the Red Cross in China. Is that?
Yeah, so she was the head of Red Cross in China for a few years, and my grandfather was assistant director of WHO.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The first term representing China, but he was actually Chinese American. So there's like a big background story of like my family from China. Who they are. So probably another show.
Well, no, but it's interesting because Curtis and I both had grandparents and a great grandmother born here in America. You also had grandparents in America.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'm like, so my grandfather, so Chung family I'm the 5th generation of Chung in America because my great grandfathers from Zhongshan came to the San Gabriel Valley, came to Southern California in 1900. I thought, because I read my grandfather's book, is 1900 as a Chinese herbalist, as a doctor. But my grand aunt corrected me, so they're all like in their 90s. They actually wrote me an email, very formal. Yes, it is true that you are the 5th generation of Trump, but your great grandfather actually came to United States in like 1880s or something like that. So like before the 1900s. So that's what they tried to tell me. I was like, oh, okay. So my grandpa was born 1903 here at Pasadena and graduated from Los Angeles High School. And he went back to China to study medicine at age 17. And then he met my grandmother in Beijing University while studying. And then like after 2 years of university together, then Japan started attacking China. So my grandmother and her friends and my grandpa, mainly my grandmother, started a student revolution called the December 9th, a student revolution of Beijing. So that literally started the mark of how they started to fight against Japan army and military, all those sort of things. So it was like crazy. And then both of my grandparents were wounded by the government. So they started their escaping the whole entire China, whole journey. Throughout the way, they taught people how to read and write. So like they're like amazing.
Wow.
They came to America. They escaped all the way to Hong Kong and then came to America in 1941. finished. My grandfather finished his medical degree in Harvard. My grandma finished his her history degree in USC.
Wow.
And then they had a life in America. My father and my aunt was all born in America. My grandpa had a clinic in New York, pediatrician. And then, but 1949, the new Republic China formed. My grandmother, because they were part of Communist Party already, but just back then, there's no formal name for Communist Party yet when they were students. So later on, so they went back to China to join the Communist Party, and then my grandpa got thrown in jail. So it's like the back and forth of rotation of immigrants. So and then ended up I was born in China, came back to America in age 17, also because my father's political reasons. So it's like my whole family is all a lot.
Man.
You're rebels. You're all rebels.
Already.
Mavericks, yeah.
It's just like really briefly story. So like my family timeline touches like the World War II, the Cultural Revolution, and then later on the Tiananmen Square massacre by the new Chinese Communist government. So like literally every single sort of like modern Chinese history marks all happened to my family, and then that result. That was the reason that my family had the circulate migration between China and United States because of all this political event that's happening that's affecting our family.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. That is a whole show.
Not your typical immigrant story.
Yeah.
Yes, it's generations of immigrants. Like so, especially I mean, like because my cousins and my aunts and uncles, and a lot of them they're like Chinese American in the Silicon Valley, fifth generation, never moved. Stay here all the way. Where my grandfather, with my grandmother, and then my father, my mother, and then me. Now we're just like every single generation we have like a move.
So this probably influenced you as a kid. You probably tried some foods and heard about some things that other kids in China had never heard of. So you came to America for college.
Yeah, I came to California for college. So Fremont, East Bay.
All right.
The Bay Area. That was like my first town. Like, so I also sometimes I say I grew up in Fremont because that's like my first American memory is growing up in the little cute perfect town of Fremont. It has the like. I remember my dad picked Fremont because there was like an article came out. It was the best town in the United States, ranked number one. So my dad said, "Oh, we're moving there."
Oh man, whoever
so
did.
He had a business in the Silicon Valley, so like it makes sense. He was living in San Jose before me and my mom came to America to join him. So he started first. He came to America first to start life. So like, I talk about it a lot, like in podcasts and also the things I write is. I think it's because my unique background of this circular migration on my family. So through growing up, when I was in Beijing, like my family, like we didn't grow up in soybean milk or fried youtiao donut, Chinese donut. We grew up I get to drink coffee ever since I was little. Even though it's like Asian style coffee, it's a tiny little bit coffee, a lot of creamer, like the white coffee style. But I get to taste that. That's like my palate. We ate like hot dog and fried sunny side up egg with white toast as breakfast, and sometimes with soybean milk. So I always grew up, and then Beijing's culture is so conservative and it's so rich, but at the same time it's such a big melting pot because it's been the capital of China for so thousands of years. So it's like I feel like I always grew up with this kind of like sometimes it's like slightly conflicting, but it's always like this like giant melting pot of culture, a lot of East and West, a lot of always surrounded by a lot of new and old. And so growing up, and then I came to America at this like tender age of 17, how awkward. Like, like I was hating my parents for dragging me, left my friend that I grew up with. Like with no relatives, that you just felt me in this like. Well, I remember my dad picked me up in San Francisco, and I look around. I was like, oh, this like the painted ladies are really cute and stuff. And then as he started driving into like the Hayward, past the bridge of San Mateo, and driving to Fremont, I was like, where are you taking me? Why are there's cow? Are we going to a village? Like from Beijing, you taking me to a village? And then like we pull up to this apartment building, and I was like, because like I grew up. I was slightly spoiled. My grandmother. We had drivers, and I had two full-time nannies when I was little. Like so like first I feel and then like I look at our apartment building. I was like, we have to live in apartments to share with people. We have to share our yard. We drive ourselves now. Like all this is a shock. And then you taking me like everybody's America is so glamorous, so awesome. And I was like, this is village. Like no, like America is not more better than China.
That's funny. Oh man.
So like, and then for me, then my parents threw themselves into work, and like they work in the Silicon Valley, like they're like trying to like now they're trying to in their 40s and trying to restart everything.
Sure.
And then so like for me, like I just stay home by myself a lot, and the way I learned English is actually what Carol Chinn that generation started. That I watched the Food Network, like because I always love to eat, and our apartment was next to a Lucky supermarket. So every day after school, I would just go into the supermarket, walk up and down the aisle, and look at labels. Ever since I was little, I always like to read random things. So like I would read labels and then read signs and to learn English, and then buy food to try. And I was like, oh, why does this celery taste like water? It's like like everything is so big but not flavorful. So like. And then so I started to watch Food Network to try to figure out how to use this like electrical stove and how to use oven to cook. It's all the new things that I don't have in China, but I always love to cook ever since I was little. And then came to America, I learned how to like English and like learn to speak English. A lot of part is really through cooking labels and watching cooking shows. So I probably always talk like I'm hosting a cooking demos because I learned English from Uncle Emerald
and Rachel Ray and Bobby Flay.
But so the identity part. So like when I was growing up in China, I'm kind of like westernized, so a little bit Americanized, and then now I'm in America. I'm very Chinese. So it's always so like. For me, and at this like very awkward teenage time that like everybody hates me already, and I have to learn this brand new culture, and I love food, and and so like there's nothing good to eat, so that's why I fell in love with chicken McNuggets and Filet-O-Fish because that's like McDonald's next to my house. Like all this is like my whole life is always. Now I think about it, is always thread through food. It's like I like a big part of my identity is through food. Yes, it is 100%. So like the way I cook nowadays is really like kind of like is my journey through life. So it's like my progressive Chinese American way is really through like to in search of exactly who I am, what's authentic to me, because this very strange, unusual migration, like like because how I grew up and my upbringing, so it's all kind of translating into my food.
Yeah. So you start working in a cubicle in Silicon Valley, or you start working in a day job, and you say to yourself, "What am I doing?"
Pretty much, but no, I do have to say though, it was good times because it was the beginning of the Silicon Valley boom, and so I was be able to jump around a lot. Like the only reason that, so I supposed to be a doctor, as everybody else. And that's why I have my little sister now, who was born and raised in America. And she's like 18 years younger than me. She is graduating, like she just finished her medical school, graduating from UC Davis.
All right, yeah.
So finally, I'm so relieved now. My family, my generation, she's the only doctor. You know how much pressure our generation kids get. Like no doctor came out. Finally, there's one graduating, and she's becoming like woo.
All right.
So, but my chemistry was really bad, so I couldn't like pass my chemistry. And then so my dad was an engineer because my dad's an engineer, right? Like he's into semiconductor. He has a semiconductor company in the Silicon Valley. He's just like we're in the Silicon Valley, be an engineer. So I studied industrial engineer. Why? I don't know why. Industrial engineer for a hot second. Oh, because my dad had a factory. Industrial engineer for like a hot second. I hated it. And then I was just like, hey, my life. My dad said, you should just like, I was in Dianza. Okay, everybody, Dianza?
Yeah,
okay, so I was in all this. I was in Dianza. And then my dad finally was like, you're just wasting your life. Can you just do something already? Why don't you just get a business degree? Anybody can get a business degree. Just go get a business degree. So I got a business degree. So I transferred to Cal State Hayward University of East Bay now, I believe.
Yeah.
So like the business school is okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't get into Berkeley. Like, don't you guys? You were like the overachiever that my dad is like, if my parents know you, they will go so like, you should be friends with Caryl Chinn. She went to Berkeley. You know what I mean? Like that's Asian parents. My mom said, oh my
Curtis
God.
went to Davis.
I went to Davis,
so
yeah.
like where you're
No,
Karen.
this is amazing. I'm a Cal State. I'm sorry. I'm not
No.
you know.
Don't apologize.
I'm Cal. So my mom is like,
No, we love the Cal State system too. We love the Cal State.
It's like what all the parents start talking about, my parents just turn around and like, no. For the longest time, they're like, yeah, Cal State Hayward. Like all my friends. It's like growing up in Fremont already, like I was American high school. We're like, okay, American high school. All other parents are like Mission San Jose. And then college time, like all other kids are graduating from UC Berkeley, Stanford, private school, all those kids. And then you're like, where's your daughter go? Cal State Hayward. You know, you get me. But anyway, so finally now my parents can know it. Have you met my daughter, the celebrity chef, Shirley Chung? You know, so many years has been working to her staff. And finally, everybody's, oh yeah?
They can brag
your
about
daughter
you.
is doctor? My daughter is a celebrity chef. Finally. How long? No, it's like, you have to be multiple times on Top Chef. One time, no. It's only one time. The second time, my mom be on. That's the only time is actually, this is like now she's just like, I be on Top Chef. So yeah, like now she can finally show off. The first time is not even good enough. The second time is like a little bit. And then she goes like, win.
Classic.
Asian parents.
Classic. Like you wanted to talk about like the classic Asian parents, like dynamic, like my family, 100% classic. And you get like, my younger sister is a doctor. She's a doctor, overachiever doctor.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like I'm a chef, like polar opposite.
Well, she had to be a doctor, or else she'd be in your shadow. You know, she had to get that on her resume.
100% what she said when she was in college. She was like, when she was in college, I was on Top Chef, and then like there start articles. She started seeing press reporting about me and all those sort of things, and then I guess she won an election in her university. So like the local Sacramento paper, Sacramento Bee or something like that, talk about it. Is it Sacramento? Yeah, Sacramento Bee or something like that. Talk about it. So the day that on Facebook, my parents posted something that, oh, Shirley's on this, like they talk about her experience on Top Chef, and then my sister had to post that. I'm in newspaper too. No, she's amazing.
Yeah,
she's way better. Like she inspired me to be better. Like she is such a like society loving and has political goal, wants to, get into the medical field, not to make money, but really she wants to save children and push universal healthcare. And then like everything about her is like, I was like, wow. Yeah. I wasn't thinking that deep when I was your age.
It's hard to be a Chung, man. You gotta either be on TV or be a doctor. Wow. Good thing there's not a third kid. That third kid's would have had it rough.
You're kidding. I can't have kids. No, I don't want to have children.
Yeah.
So much pressure.
Ah, man, fun story. So you go to Culinary Academy here in San Francisco. All right, shout out to the Culinary Academy.
All the way.
Yeah. And you start working, and you get hired at some of these really, really top restaurants, and you start working. And I think if you watch carefully on Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations, Season 1, Episode 7, there's a young Shirley Chung at the Oyster Bar, I believe, working there.
Bouchard, Las Vegas.
Yeah.
What was that? What, 2005?
Yeah, I think so.
2005. Yeah, wow. See how that's actually my first America TV camera.
Yeah, see, the camera loved you and found you on the Oyster Bar. And so you start doing more cooking with these top chefs and people that you've seen on TV, I'm sure, and everyone knows Thomas Keller and Mario Batali. And then you get a phone call, or how does the Top Chef thing work? You apply, or
I work through Vegas, so I started after culinary school. I started in Bushang Yangville, so the original Bushang, and then TK said that he wants to open Busan Las Vegas. So like I was, I wanted to go to Vegas. I used to go party there a lot. Working there is very different now. But so I went to Vegas. So I had like a 13-year career run in Las Vegas for all those amazing chefs that you talk about. That's how me and Caryl Chinn met. So we met in that Bon Appetit event world that like she will come to Vegas and then, like chefs are crazy. I try to manage all these chefs. It's like the most impossible thing. So like she saw me, I'm sure like because I'm one of the only Asian chef, the only female Asian chef running around among all those white chefs. And then I'm like the chef de cuisine for Marabutali. And then all those boys have to kind of listen to me, even though my boss, like they're my boss, but then they listen to me, because like we can manage them though. So I just remember all those like fancy big events, encores and croissants and whatever. Every single time, it doesn't matter who I was working for. I will be left Marabutali team already, working for Jose Andres, and I'm not with Thomas Keller anymore. But literally, Caryl Chinn have anything. She's just like, Shirley, can you go find this chef XYZ? I was like, I don't work for TK anymore. She's like, but you know where Devin is? I was like, you're right. And then, or she's just like, hey, the Batali team, where are they? I was like, oh, they're late. They're looking for this XYZ. And she's just like, can you tell them to hurry up? I was like, okay, hold on. So I was literally became like Caryl Chinn's chef coordinator. Oh no, chef wrangler in Las Vegas. And then there'll be like chefs like fully clothed and throw things away and then try to steal things from the festival because they're drunk. No, it's just because they're drunk. Like
that's another story.
When chefs get drunk and then a lot of us all get together and over events or the event after party is the most epic parties ever, but also us, the event, the person that's hosting them, I'm sure it's the biggest headache ever that all these crazy chefs that's drunk. Amazing story, but crazy. And so I had an amazing run in Las Vegas, and then the Top Chef Master was filming in Cosmopolitan Hotel for one of their season. And then when they were filming, and then I was the chef for Chino Poblano for Jose Andres, so it's half Mexican and half Chinese. So that's actually the first time ever professionally I started cooking my heritage, like my cuisine. I didn't want it to, but like Jose Andres was like, you're cooking it. I was like, okay. So as I was the chef for Chino Poblano and the Top Chef production team, and everybody just keep on coming into the restaurant to eat. And then so the one after they filmed, they were start looking for season 11's chef contestants. For regular Top Chef, so they came back to Cosmo to headhunt me, to look for me to compete. And then that time that I tried to leave Vegas because it was Vegas, so literally every 2 years I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave Vegas. There's always a new celebrity chef open, they will headhunt me, so I was okay, I guess I stay. So that's why like 13 years later, I finally I was like, I don't want to just stay in Vegas anymore, I'm gonna move. So I quit Chino Poblano already, and Top Chef kept going back to Chino Poblano to look for me. And then so I did this interview and blah blah blah, and then so I didn't think about it. I was like, okay, bye. I'm going back to China because I had a trip planned. So I left, and then when I was in China in Sichuan, traveled through the mountain, couldn't get in touch with them. I guess they were looking for me, and then finally they located me. And then as soon as I came back from China, they flew me from Vegas to Los Angeles for the final interview. And then after my interview, a day later, they announced it on Deadline or whatever. They announced the people that's going to compete at that season. So that's how I got on Top Chef. Oh, wow. The first time.
Wow.
New Orleans. It was like crazy. And I didn't want to. And Jimmy Lee, my husband, was like, what are you going to do? You got no job lining up. You just decided that, okay, I'm going to move back to California. Where we have 2 houses. It's like literally, it's like we had no preparation. I just decided that we should move back to California. So I quit my job, and then I do want to say I'm extremely lucky in that way that I have a very great supportive group. Like even though my family, my parents hated me, didn't talk to me for 2 years for being a chef, and then there's Jimmy. But then I just like because of my support. Because of my family and my friends, I was be able to do a lot of crazy decisions. And that at that moment sounds extremely crazy, like leave a great job and leave a great chef and leave a this. But then I always resolve into something bigger and better happen in my life. Yeah. So my impulse decisions is thanks to my friends, like Caryl Chinn, like my husband Jimmy Lee, like everybody surrounding me that's supporting me, feeling this what I want and then pushing me to the next level. So far so good.
You know, we're gonna leave on a cliffhanger here because I think we're kind of up against an hour here. We don't want to go too long in episode number 1, but we got more stories, people. So if you are hanging on to Shirley's story, we are just getting started with our Top Chef stories, and we'll talk a lot more in part 2 next week. But if you have a memory of Shirley on Top Chef, cooking with chilies or almost getting eliminated, whatever memory you have, write to us at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us at Instagram at The Infatuasian Podcast. Where can people follow you guys? What's the best socials for you?
Well, thankfully, our parents spelled both my first and last name really weird. So it's Caryl, Caryl, Chinn, Chinn. So at Caryl Chinn.
Easy. So we'll put that.
CarylChinn.com, yeah. Caryl Chinn Twitter, Caryl Chinn Facebook. Yeah.
Shirley, where can people find you?
For me, I spell chefware. So instead of CHEF, I spell CHF, Shirley Chung, and you just spell everything else, CHF, Shirley Chung. So a lot of time, once you put in CHF, SH, I will pop up. So IG, Twitter, what else? Facebook, thing. On Facebook is Chef Shirley Chung. So
people will find you. All right. So if you want to know more about Shirley or Caryl, you can follow them there or tune in next week for episode part 2. But thank you both for talking with us for a while. We have more episodes coming soon. We got part 2 of this. And then also we have some Asian scientists to come talk to us. So we're going to talk to some PhDs. We have a lot of random topics. We're going to talk about true crime, but it'll be fun. So come along, listen to our new episodes, follow us on Instagram to know what's going on. So until then, on behalf of my sister Caryl and my other sister Shirley, we thank you all for listening, and we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. Thanks for listening, and bye.
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 All right, I will edit all that in. Let me let Madison in. So she's I'll introduce you in a second. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, Madison. She's professional. She has a headset and then a microphone and everything.
Yeah, Maddie's a singer, songwriter, musician, also high school student in AP Bio.
Yes. Most importantly.
And so this is my sister Caryl up in there, over there, and Chef Shirley over there on the bottom.
Nice to meet you both.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
We just wrapped up part 1.
Is my volume fine?
It's a little low. You want to up it a little bit?
What about now?
I think it's fine. We could always more gain.
Okay.
This reminds me of that time when I had this mixtape I really liked, and my brother recorded an intro to it over the beginning of this tape. So I was like listening to it randomly in my car or something, just like, hey, what's this? Yeah, it's my sister's mixtape. And then it's like, and then the song started. I was like, wait, what was that?
That was my early radio career.
Early podcasting, yeah.
Oh, I had a radio career in San Francisco.
Did you?
93.1 Chinese FM 中文电视台 No wait 中文电台93.1中文电台
Wow, 很好.
Amazing. Did Shirley crack you up with her stories? Like some of those I'd never even heard.
Yeah. Well, the problem is Shirley is so shy and quiet, and it was hard to get her to talk.
Hey, Curtis, so are you part of? I think it's called because you talk about Angry Asian Man. Phil, he's also my friend. He and Jeff Young, they call me Bruce. I think I was on episode 3 or something like. I was like on there like back in the days already. They have a thing called Potluck Collective or something like that, right? Are you part of that? Because it's all Asian podcasters.
I wish. No, I'm too little. I'm nobody. No, their network is good. Yeah, they have a good group of. They have like 8 different podcasts, I think. Yeah.
They're tiny. They started really tiny too. So why are you shy? Just reach out, Curtis. Don't be shy. Do you want me to connect you?
See, you're saying as my sister. You think a lot. Let me warm up a little bit, Shirley. Okay. I gotta get. Well, this episode will put me on the map. This is the one. Exactly. This is the one that's going to launch the podcast.
I was like the first couple episodes for a lot of them. So like, yes,
you're the good luck charm. Yeah.
I don't want to say I opened the door for them, but I definitely want to say I feel like I'm their good luck charm. So I was on many of their original episodes. So like this all fitting. Yeah, I was on like episode 3 for They Call Me Bruce. And then like first of all, I was on episode 2 or something like that. So
well, you're a great interview. That's why, everyone wants you on. Yeah.
Yeah, you should connect him though, because he's always saying to me like, Madison, how are we gonna get cool people to be on the podcast?
See, but I do have to say though, Curtis, it's a great decision that you have Madison on your team. So literally you just change our crew factor and also change our average age into a lot lower. That's crew factor. Really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Really good.
She does my social media.
You are the cool factor. You make Curtis so much more cool. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Madison is your intern? Good job.
I'm gonna have her start asking people. She's gonna email Aquafina and say, "Oh, I'm a high schooler."
You should, totally. Do it.
Yeah, because if I ask her, she'll say no. But if a high schooler, I'm just
smart, very smart.
He's already telling me about my fans and all the people that DM him.
No, people tell me we want more Madison, less of you.
Oh, perfect. I agree.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I agree too.
I'm so shy though. It's so hard for me to talk, but
it's okay, Madison. But you use podcasts as your platform and you practice, and then later on in real life, you're less shy.
Exactly.
This is what okay, so when I was at San Francisco, 93.1. 96.1 FM. 96.1 FM. It was belonged to Qingdao newspaper.
Right.
Qingdao newspaper is Chinese radio station. I had 2 shows. So I had one show was on Thursday night about traveling, and then Sunday I had a show from midnight to 6 a.m. 6 hours straight, and I had to talk by myself, like play music. So I have like so I had midnight ghost story time, because when you're in San Francisco, there's a lot of ghost story on Bay Bridge and Golden Gate Park. There's a lot, so people will call in, and there's a lot of people that used to work in the sewing machine, so all Chinese people. So that at 3 o'clock I would play Chinese oldies. So I have like a whole thing. Yeah, I have my own program. I was my own producer. So
that's amazing.
Thing. So that's why I can talk nonstop, because I used to have to fill 6 hours. 6 hours of talking time. Why do you think I can just sit here to do this? This is like nothing. I have someone to talk to. Normally I have to pretend. Go, hey, somebody call. No, nobody called. I pretended.
That's so fun.
Oh, man.
Wait,
that was my college time.
How did you get into cooking then from that?
She failed as business. She failed as her.
No, I didn't. And so I was working in Silicon Valley, and then my company, the company I was with, was going out of business. Not me, the company. The whole entire market was failing. And then that time that me and my husband, like, we're like got engaged and pretty serious, and he's just like, you should do something you love. So I always hated office job. I always loved cooking. So we used to print out the best restaurant of San Francisco, like top 100, going down the list, and then just go eat. So I ate in French Laundry before I started working for it. So like all these restaurants, I actually ate them all, and I love them. And then on the weekends, sometimes I will try to recreate restaurant dishes. So I always love to cook. So my friends will come, go like, their birthday party, they were like, hey, I wanted to have this restaurant, this dish. Can you make it? And I still remember that when Michel Richard had, like, Gary Danko's last location was Michel Richard's restaurant. So I went to Michel Richard's restaurant, and I love Sir Foie so much that me, like 21 years old with my ex-boyfriend, so 2 kids, ordered 4 portions of Sir Foie Gras, because we loved it so much. So like that was our life in the Silicon Valley. So we made a lot of money. I had a lot of Manolo Blahnik, because that was Sex and the City time. I drove multiple, I used to drive different sports cars, race cars, like, because I love cars, love fast cars, and I love to eat. So we would eat all the fancy restaurants, because I used to make a lot of money and don't have to pay rent. Why you make 90,000? You don't have to pay rent. You live in the Bay Area. It's good life. Yeah, Madison.
No kids. Yeah.
No
Girl
kids.
boss.
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
And then so that's what I did. And then so I had 5 years of that in the Silicon Valley. And then so I decided I love food. I love cooking. I can do this professionally. No, I was just a housewife being like thinking that I can do it. So I went to culinary school and it was really hard. And then I went to extern in French Laundry and Bouchon. The first extern was 3 months. You work there without pay. The first month, they almost fired me. You don't fire extern. I almost got fired by Thomas Keller for working for free. I almost got fired for working for free.
Mr. Chinn, don't fire me, please.
Yeah. And then because I was like a princess, I tried to wear high heels in the kitchen.
It's
Your
okay.
Manolo Blahniks.
That would be me.
I was like, I have all these high heels. You tell me I can't wear this anymore? I didn't think this through. Like I totally didn't think like, what be chef? You cannot wear high heels? It's like I didn't think that through. But yeah, that's how I started to cook. It's actually like went in there and thinking that, oh, I can do this. This is easy. And then realized, and then also thinking that I have a lot of relationship in the Silicon Valley. If this cooking thing didn't work out, I'll just come back. It worked out.
Yeah. I feel like young people always have so much pressure to like figure out what they want to do in like high school. It's like you should know what you want to do when you go to college. But that goes to show that it's never too late to just follow what you want to do.
100%. That's why. Okay, so my first restaurant that I left, but I named after was the age I started cooking, 28. I actually changed career at age 28. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So I'm always, but then also I'm forever 28. I never age. Okay. I just stay. Look at me, like this is 28.
Yeah.
I will forever be 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
She's just like, no. Auntie Shirley, thank you. No, but yes, that's why I want to say, like, I'm 100% one of that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, I changed my major multiple times throughout college, as I shared earlier. And then, I was like working as a radio station host for like 1.5 years. And then after graduating, I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. No. They don't pay the bill. And then so I work in the Silicon Valley and didn't know what I wanted to do. So I jumped from one startup to another startup. So the timing was good because like every single jump you make 20 more thousand. Every single jump you make 20 more thousand. You don't do anything. There's one job that we just sit there smoke pot. Like seriously, if you're like, we need to be creative. This is like good old.com time. Like smoking break? Okay, let's go downstairs. Everybody's smoking pot. What? And then like we party in San Francisco 10-15 Folsom. Like I asked Caryl about that. Like, you know, like I will be partying from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 4 days. Yes, I'll be staying there till 4 a.m. So that was me. I'm one of those like cut a lot of school and I'm surprised that I graduated. So 100% I'm like that. Like I'm like, ew.
Good thing we didn't talk about this on a podcast, Shirley. Who knew you were
we're putting this in. We're gonna put this in.
Rebel.
No, I am. I was like, no, I was never because people always, oh, you must be an overachiever. Because look at my sister. My sister's like A++, right? I was like, no, I was not an overachiever. I was like, can I get by? Can I cheat? I'm the one that missing school in Cal State Hayward. I would go into a library, always looking for the guy that, there's always an Asian guy willing to do anything for you. I'll be just like, locate them and I sit next to them and go, hi, I missed some notes. Can you help me?
Oh my God.
We're like, can I see your homework, please?
Give him the dimples.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then like, you know, like whatever graduate essay that you have to, like, I don't know, like that time there's internet already. I copy paste a lot.
Now the secret's out.
Oh,
So
man.
but as you can see, I always wanted to say, but I'm always curious about life. I like to learn about everything. The things that I'm interested, I'd be like full on going and learn. So I wanted to say, even though I wasn't the best students, but every single job I had, I was always the great one that people wanted to promote me or headhunt me, that I never stayed. So like, because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I didn't stay in a career. So I was jumping back and forth when I was in Silicon Valley. And chef was actually like made me, if I started as a chef at a younger age, I wouldn't be able to be as successful because I just don't have enough patience, I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Sometimes life's like that. You're not ready, you know.
You're not ready.
Yeah.
So no, I was the opposite of Caryl Chung.
Well, I changed careers too. 26.
Yeah, but exactly. So yes, I will be like, Caryl. She will be like the kid. My parents will always point to go, look at Caryl Chinn. Thank God I didn't grow up with you. Oh my God, so much pressure. If you're my friend back then, do you know how much pressure I have? You're like, what? Berkeley? No, Pienza. Sorry.
That's so funny.
Nothing wrong with the
answer.
Yeah.
Wait.
So there's always different paths. As Asians, we don't have to be a doctor, even though I have a doctor as a mom, as a grandma, as a sister. But we don't have to be doctor. I'm a chef.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Next time, Shirley, I hope you come out of your shell a little bit, and
I hope I can.
Not so shy.
I hope that I won't talk as much this time.
Yeah.
I mean, the next time.
You need to be
Yeah.
quiet.
I really do need to be quiet.
Curtis,
I talk too
you know
much.
your podcast. You're going to depend on medicine, right? She's gonna make your podcast famous. She's gonna start a TikTok account and doing all those sort of things, and next thing you know,
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a good
It
night.
was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Okay, bye.